Hi, and welcome to our last episode of Trash Talk. In this episode, you'll be hearing from Brett, Leisha, and myself about how we live our lives a little bit more sustainably.
So we had some really fantastic advice from all the people that we interviewed in our mini-series Trash Talk, from reusing glass jars to taking a shopping list when you go shopping, or even getting involved in your local community kind of cleanup groups, or even just your local community.
So we wanted to go back over some of the stuff we've learned along the way and how we have incorporated some of it into our life, just so you can get some more ideas of how you can do it yourself.
Joe suggested to rethink waste. Should I throw it out, or can I keep it and use it for something else? I do this with all of my hummus tubs. I go through about one a week, so instead of throwing out the tubs, I use them to store things like cakes.
So something that I did in the past was, instead of going out and buying glassware, if I needed stuff to drink out of, I would just reuse old jars. But some other things that I've been doing more recently is I needed a funnel a couple of weeks ago. So instead of going out and buying a funnel, I just went through my recycling bin, found an old bottle and turned part of that into a funnel by chopping part of the bottle off and taking off the lid. It was really simple and cuts down on the amount of stuff I'm throwing out. I now have a funnel to use as well.
I mentioned in my interview with Joe from Five for Ride that I did actually reuse my glass jars. And in fact, I've got a couple here with me now to show you exactly what I meant. So here I have one glass jar that's full of microplastics and some macroplastics. It used to be a jam jar and now it holds plastics. I also have a salsa jar, which is full of macroplastics. Now, you can use your glass jars for other things. I find that they work really well for housing plastic because they don't let the plastics fall out and you can take them with you.
When we chatted to Dave, he mentioned we could try making a shopping list and sticking to it so that we don't generate excess food waste by having more than we need. And this is something that I've been doing for about 6 years now. It's probably the first sustainable thing I started doing in my life. I look at my calendar once every week or two and plot out kind of what meals will fit in where and when I can fit in my shopping, and I make up shopping lists to go with that.
To minimize my food waste is actually make my own pasta sauces. So they're a great way to sneak veggies into your meals, but also use up food that might be going to waste otherwise. Anything you possibly think of that looks like it might be going off and you might be chucking it in the bin sometime soon, cook it up. Either put it on the stove or roast your veggies and then blitz them in a blender. It's a really fantastic way of making your own pasta sauce and knowing exactly what's going in it. And additionally, it's a bit more sustainable because you're not wasting all the food otherwise. Here's one of the sauces that I made, so they're fantastic. I make a ridiculous amount of pasta sauce, so they freeze really well. This has about 10 different veggies in it and it's super easy to make. Another thing that I do to live life a little bit more sustainably is to reduce my single-use plastic use. I have a couple of ways that I do this. So I like to take my own shopping bags while shopping. I also have my own reusable straws. So with my reusable straws, I've actually got two different kinds. I have my bamboo ones and I also have stainless steel straws. Now these are really, really awesome because they can fit easily in your bag and they stop you from using unnecessary plastic. Another thing that I have to reduce my single-use plastic use is to have reusable coffee cups. I also have two of these. I have a large one for those days where I really need my caffeine. And then I also have my small one. These are really fantastic. There are so many different kinds of colors and shapes and styles to choose from. It's definitely something that people can easily start to adopt.
Reusable coffee cups are a great idea, but they can be a little expensive. To overcome that, I've decided to reuse an old salsa jar. Another thing that you can reuse is clothing. Now, op shops are amazing, and there are lots of different types of them. And there's also the Green Shed in Canberra. At these op shops, you can go around and you can find these amazing items of clothing. Growing up, we would go to them all the time. Frequently, my mum would pick up a piece of clothing and say, "It doesn't even pay for the material."
I generally buy secondhand if I do need clothes. And as we were leaving the green shed, I actually found a really fantastic pogo stick. So I bought that secondhand and I've been loving it. So I highly recommend going and checking out some secondhand places, seeing what kind of stuff you can get. For video 3, we were chatting to Rosanna. Rosanna recommended that we get involved with the community. Recently, through some of my uni coursework that I've been doing, done a bit of outreach and run some kind of upcycling workshops for kids along the south coast of New South Wales, around Nowra. So that's been really fun, and helping engage other people with how they can start reusing some of their stuff. I'd love to get involved in more of the stuff that's already out there.
In the local Canberra region, there are a few different communities that you can join. You can search your local suburb and community gardens. There is also the Repair Cafe, which goes on a monthly basis. And we didn't get a chance to chat to them, but there is the Canberra Environment Centre, and they hold a lot of different events. One I attended a few months ago was a How to Grow Your Own Worm Farm. So these are some of the things that we do at home to live our lives a little bit more sustainably.
And one thing to remember is sustainability can be taken in small steps. If you have any sustainability steps that you like to take at home, let us know in the comments or even send us an email. We would love to hear what other people do to be a little bit more sustainable. Thank you so much for tuning into Trash Talk. My name is Leisha and I am from Trashy Science. If you like what you've been hearing, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share it around to some of your friends and family so they can be sustainable for the greener good.
Thank you for listening to us. I've been Lawrence from Trashy Science, and this is the end of our Trash Talk series. Huge thank you to all of the people who we have interviewed, to Brett and Leisha, and also to Riverboy for his background music.